Hey, what is up, Headhunters, executive recruiters, and the occasional talent acquisition HR that sneaks in here is not supposed to be in? Welcome to the Headhunters and Boxers Talking Smack. This is David Stephen Patterson. You know me as your
Boxer.
boy. Heartthrobs and boxers, excuse me, they're sexy ass music. Although I've had some requests to go back to our old music, so maybe here soon we'll do that. But this is DSP, your boy, Neil Libovitzis. This is my co-host, the beautiful one and only Neil, and known more for his known more for his smarts than his looks. Actually,
Thank you. It's true.
But,
it is true.
He woos women with his mad dance skills on the dance floor. And I have a story about that, actually, we can tell. But that said, welcome to our guest today.
About my dancing?
What?
You don't have
well,
a story.
No, it's just a funny story about me dancing, but you just reminded me. All my good stories are about me. You probably already know that. But we do have a beautiful and talented and very successful guest today, Amy Culver. Amy, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. And by the way, I've actually seen Neil dance. So there you go. Speaking of dancing. Do you remember that in Vegas?
I did dance, but that's between us. You're married. We don't want Brian to hear about our little dancing thing, Not good. Not good.
Well, he was there. He was there, actually. So
yeah, they probably saw me dance too. Yeah, I'm not known. Jews in general, not so known for our dancing skills. Just an FYI for those of you who aren't aware of that.
Unless they're carrying a chair,
I'm happy to be here.
In it, getting married. That I think you dance then, right? You do kind of like the little Jewish shuffle thing you do with the weddings. You know what I'm talking about?
We rock the Hava Nagila and we rock the chair dance, right?
The chair dance, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's not really dancing. Sure. We just lift it up. Hey, macho man, right?
Now that said, that is the dance of his people, and the dance which he uses to woo women. Not very successfully, but he does use it. Now, I remember one time I was at a club with a buddy of mine, and this is a funny story. It's probably funnier in my mind, but I remember we were totally drunk at a Green Iguana, and it's late at night, and there's this guy, this black guy dancing with this woman, and because he's like super smooth. He's like, yeah, doing his thing. He's so smooth. And my buddy Neil is like, dude, I bet you I could dance circles around that guy. And I'm like, I want to see it. So he does what he does. He goes, starts dancing in a circle around that couple.
That's good.
I just thought that was pretty funny. Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
So before we get into the show, there's a couple of things I've noticed today. You're coughing. You were asking before the show for cough drops from your entourage, which I don't believe in the whole cough drop things. I think that's snake oil. I don't think they do anything. But David, what's going on with the finger? You can't come on. You can't point. Have this thing on your finger, which looks like a total cast. And what's going on? You mentioned it quickly. I didn't want to talk about it. I said we're going to talk about this on the show, but this is serious stuff going on with the game. Sorry about this, but this is for all the followers. This is big stuff.
It's big news. Well, I will say I will preface this with a quick joke, and that'll be kind of a hint into what happened. What did the leper say to the hooker? Keep the tip.
Keep the tip.
The leper. Keep the tip. Well, that's what happened to me. See, as it turns out, I spent about I overpaid for some Cutco knives. Cutco, they're super expensive.
They're good knives. Good knives.
They're good knives. Well, it was a friend's daughter was selling them, and I'm a sucker, and so I bought these knives, and they're so sharp, and I've cut myself multiple times. I was cutting tomatoes for Talkin night the other night, and I cut the tip off, like down through the nail, like on the corner tip. And and so I'm doing this right now.
So
I'm
really
taping it up and just
off of the finger.
Well, not like the whole tip. I mean, it's through the nail, but it'll heal like that. So I'm gonna have a flat part.
Amy's going to vomit. I think she's going to vomit. Amy, were you just letting it vomit, or were you letting a pet in?
My dog is like literally at the door barking to get to me, and it was not going to stop unless I let her in. Stop, Lily. Okay, sorry.
This is what David and I talk about getting crisp. but we won't do a commercial now. David, back to your finger. So, yeah, I avoid the super sharp knives for that reason, because sometimes I'm cutting a bagel, not to talk about my Jewdom again, or a bagel or a bialy or matzo balls or gefilte fish, any of those things. I cut them, and I eventually, sometimes like the knife gets to my finger, but fortunately it's dull enough where I'm like, oh, I look at him, all right, no blood, I'm good. But with a knife like that, you're cutting tips off.
Yeah. Dangerous. Well, I'll tell you what, Neil, with the bagel thing, not to be stereotyping, you are kind of a caricature of yourself.
True.
But then again, I'm also a figment of my own imagination, so I think we're kind of, it fits. Try to figure that one out.
You guys would just have me laughing all day. I feel like this is like a comedy hour.
Well, this kind of educational value thrown in.
And then we actually go into training, or we go into topics that are valuable to people.
But I love it.
Yeah. And we wear boxers underneath, and sometimes we don't wear boxers, and that's the imagination of the viewer.
free ball and Headhunters talking smack.
Hey, I don't talk like that.
Anyway, on that note, well, Amy actually, Neil has talked really highly about Amy, and one thing that I think for those folks who are just tuning in, one thing we'll be talking about, not necessarily quite yet, but here very, very soon, is I want to talk about things like going live, whether Facebook or LinkedIn, video groups, Facebook group, LinkedIn groups. Because obviously I've got my group, Neil has his group. I also Elisa, my fiance, she runs Barbells and Ponytails, that big CrossFit apparel brand. She has got a group of about 90,000 women on Facebook, which is massive. And then of course Amy has a group as well, just started one, and so we can talk about how that can apply to building audience and recruiting and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about it here, just so you know, it's gonna be a little bit different because that's
a little more of the intro. So Amy and I do go way back. Amy is a legal recruiter, so she is one of us, one of y'all, I should say. And so she does that for her. I don't even know if it's her main living anymore. How's that? But it's certainly it's for your main living. Yeah, so she does that, but Amy is one of these people that we profess to y'all over the last almost been a year, frankly, since we've been on. I think it's gonna be a year soon, maybe in March, right, David? I think we're gonna see. I'll pick it up, but it's we profess all the time that everyone's got to do what we do and what other guests do, and that's use social media, create either groups, go live, get people to provide value to them so that you can do things. And Amy does that. And Amy, what you probably don't know, and I told this to David, is you were actually, believe it or not, one of my inspirations to stop feeling like I missed the boat on Facebook and to get on it and to start broadcasting and doing stuff, because I saw you all the time, because we're friends on Facebook. And I saw you all the time going live. I'm like, my God, look at this one. She's got 655 people that watch this live. You go live almost every day. You're on vacation at the beach. You're going live. You got, just talking for 10 minutes. You got 450 people on there. People are loving you on there. They're commenting on it. And you got this great following. I'm like, I can't be that late to the game. Like, if you didn't start that long ago. And it's a bit of a different story for you. But you found a way also to leverage off of relationships that you've had and create a business that's very different. So let's talk about, and on top of it all, you lost a boatload of weight.
A lot of weight. Been busy. I've been busy.
Great motivational story. Do you have any pictures of you as a fatty?
I do. Let's see.
Oh my God, Neil, don't worry.
I know.
I was the childbearing years got me. There's no question about that. That's what I told. Here, let me see if you can see.
Okay. And I will say that if you're familiar with the body positivity movement, you're not supposed to say fatty.
A little closer. Yeah, and free. Whoa. Wow.
Crazy.
Hey, listen, you're still beautiful. Okay, and October 2015. Right?
Hey, Neil, remember, body positivity, you're not supposed to, in fact, Amy, you're not supposed to show before and afters, because you're fat shaming people who don't have the willpower to lose weight. So, to you, ma'am, you need to apologize.
I'm not shaming at all. I'm just saying I said she was still beautiful then. There's Brian over here, beautiful. He's got
sorry.
Here's to say beautiful here, and he has to come in and make sure that nothing inappropriate is going on the show.
He was doing a check.
There are some people who do view that as fat shaming because people love to be offended, right? The
you can't offend me. No, I agree with that, and I think people, people can get offended about anything, right? No, I did not take it as fat shaming. I will tell you, I was embarrassed for a long time to even tell people that I've lost over 100 pounds. Like it was like, I felt shame in that I ever had that to lose. And it really has only been in the past 2 years that I've really gotten comfortable with it. I had 3 boys. I have 3 boys still. I have 3 boys, and they're 11, 8. My youngest is 5. And my husband threw a surprise 40th birthday party for me. I've been the breadwinner of our family, legal recruiting. I've had the opportunity. The whole reason why I left the big corporate recruiting world and went out on my own, my oldest son was 1 year old, and that's when I actually met Neil, was because I wanted to be at home with him. I wanted the best of both worlds. And that's what drove me to be an entrepreneur. And so, but within that, I ate my way through those years. I mean, there's just the stress of it, the having the children, all of it. And I saw the picture from my 40th birthday party, and I was like, whoa. Yeah. So that was the D-Day.
Where you would eat a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream every time you got a send out. I think that was the problem. I think, you know what I mean? I think that's what started it.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was.
Well, the issue is too, like you look in the mirror every day, and you don't see yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then you see a picture of yourself at another angle, and it's like almost like you see yourself for the first time because no one ever actually really looks at themselves in the mirror. You just do your hair and that, and it's really how the human brain works,
Oh, and as a busy mom of 3 under 5 at that time, I didn't even look in the mirror. Like I actually avoided mirrors. I avoided pictures. It was just all about the boys. I mean, to be completely honest, and I really kind of lost myself. So that was.
Boys do rule. I mean,
boys do rule. Boys do rule.
Is it boys rule, girls rule? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, exactly.
I used to say back in the day. Actually, girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice, and boys are I forget what is it for boys? Boys are made of I forget the
made out of like snails' tails and
I can't remember
like that. Hey, by the way, so you met Neil when you met Neil when your son was 1. I'm curious, and this is really a serious question. Who was more of a whiny baby, your 1-year-old or Neil?
It was a solid tie. It was a solid tie.
You were going to say whiny bitch too. You wanted to say whiny bitch, but you didn't. Am I a whiny bitch?
Hey, in all seriousness, Neil, I was very thankful that I knew Neil when I first left because I don't even know if I can actually say this now. I think it's been long enough. I was sued by my ex-employer. We won't say who that is, but Neil and I had this company in common. Neither one of us were there at the same time or anything, but it gave me comfort to talk to Neil. Neil helped me through I thought I was going to lose my home, my life, my everything.
I remember that, Amy.
Oh my God.
I do remember that. Yeah, you were totally freaking out. I remember.
Oh, I was like, it was true panic. Like I had just left my cushy job, making good money as the breadwinner of our family to go out on my own. And then I get a lawsuit. Non-compete, right? So Neil really, like, seriously, I'm just so glad that I knew you then, and that because you calmed me so much just through that period.
Wow, and that was a long time ago. That was a decade ago too.
It was crazy.
Wow. All right. So talk about did your move into David doesn't like the Neil Love Fest. He's not happy.
Well, no, it bothers me because I know there's some lies being told somewhere. No. I don't like lying about us, but that's besides the point. Let's move on. So So when it comes, I'm curious. Was this over a non? And by the way, Neil's great. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love you, Neil. Was this because of a non-compete issue?
Yes.
I get
no. Yes.
Every month I get asked at least once, maybe twice. I get messaged privately from a recruiter says, "Hey, I've got a non-compete. What do I do here?" It's weird because I'm not a legal expert, but I feel like I've become a non-compete expert in the last few years because people keep asking me about it.
Yeah. It was my issue, though, was that because I had been with them for so long, I did not really have a non-compete. But where I live in Georgia, they had literally the month before the laws had just changed about non-competes. They wanted me in that non-compete, but they did not have it. So then it was said that I stole company information. So it switched from non-compete to me taking proprietary info, like short story. But
companies can bully. In fact, my old employer, if you go to my LinkedIn, is bullying me. Anyone who uses them should stop using them. Total bullying. Billion-dollar company, in your case, bigger than billion. They like to go after the little people because they can bully them. It's horrible.
Yeah,
so that said, so you got into, so tell us about your segue. And did that have anything to do with your weight loss? I think it did for you. But that wasn't the reason you got into it. So talk to everyone about what you got into and how you made a brand for yourself, because anyone out there needs to do that when whatever they do. They don't need to come up with a new model. And then again, how you're leveraging recruiters and all that.
Yeah. So my segue, so legal recruiting has, I've been successful, it's a good gig. But for me, what I realized, we all know if we're not in the hustle, if we're not placing people, we're not making money, right? Like it's feast or famine. And so at this time, going back really 4 years ago, my husband was miserable in life. He was miserable. He hated his job.
Well, he had a fat wife. No, I'm joking.
Stop it. Now you've done it. Now you've gone too far.
No, I'm kidding there. That was for David. Of course he was miserable. He was married to a fatty. No, I'm joking. Listen, I've been plenty fat and I still am. So I don't make fun of fat people. I really don't. I don't. It's a joke, like a comedian.
I know you're being joked. I know you're funny.
Not to you. Everyone I just offended that's never going to do business with me.
But the whole deal is we were both miserable. Let's be real, right? I faked it more than he did. I ate and he was just outwardly miserable. So he in a year he was laid off, let go 3 times, and from different sales jobs. And we kept talking about him joining me in legal recruiting, but to be honest, I was scared to death to work with him. We were not in a place where that seemed like a fun thing to be doing. I could not wait for him to get out the door every day. It's was
very dangerous. When people do that, it does go one way or the other. No joke. It's a very serious commitment, more than marriage.
I was scared to death. I was like, this is either going to be the greatest thing ever, or we were going to get a divorce over. We were both petrified to bring work and marriage together, which, by the way, fast forward, we work together and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. But I was afraid of it. So at this point, I had gone all into losing weight. I'd lost over 100 pounds. So the confidence was there. And I heard about a lady who sold her clothes on Poshmark, which is an online platform for consignment clothing. And within 1 week, I made $700 on Poshmark selling used clothes. And it was fun. It was girly. I have the boys. And I was like, I need new clothes because I've lost all this weight. I'm already an entrepreneur. I could start I'm in Atlanta. We could go to the Atlanta Mart, get clothing, I can figure out a website and I can create a passive income stream. That was my whole point. So I started an online boutique.
But why, when you're making money, why the motivation when you're making money as a legal recruiter? Is it just because you just needed that whole change in life and that new energy or that new spark or what?
I think for me, it was the energy, the fun girliness of the boutique was so different than my life. I think it was also a way for me to just kind of hide from what was going on in our house. It was just not a happy feeling during that time. And I could go in the basement and work on my boutique, and Brian would be up with the boys or be in bed or whatever. But also my end goal was to create a passive income. I wanted to create a passive income that would replace Brian's income so that he could just figure out what he wanted to do. That was my goal. And I thought that this boutique would be like self-running or something, that it would just, I would get some clothes up on the shop, do some drop shipping, making money while you sleep. Like I was naive to it is what happened really. And so, yeah, so I get into that and I work my booty off because then it's fun and I'm liking it. And it was new. I've been doing legal recruiting forever. I could place people in my sleep. Like it's just it's rewarding.
You're still doing it. You didn't just give up on it.
No, I'm still doing it. No, I was still doing that too, but it doesn't take a lot of time for me, right? And so it was fun. It was exciting. It was an escape. It was different. But I just didn't know the money, like the inventory. Then you get more inventory. And it was like this cycle that just started weighing me down and I couldn't get out of it. I felt like I was all of a sudden in this week to week check living world, even though, because I'm spending less time in legal recruiting at this point, because I'm building the boutique and making way less money with the boutique. It was just a chaotic time. I met him.
Well, also, now ask you a question real quick before we move on. But did you feel like in the recruiting world? Because I went through the same thing a few years back, and so I started doing the coaching and the recruiting and the marketing.
Okay.
I got sick of it, but I kind of did. Like, there's no challenge anymore, and I'm asking the same questions to the same people,
right?
Every single time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, shoot me. Like, did you feel like that?
You just needed something new, something to energize you. Absolutely. And I didn't even know I needed that.
That way, though, Amy and David, I think everyone goes through that. I think, well, not everyone, most do. I think it's the same old. And without any new challenge or excitement, you're in a miserable funk. And I know a lot of people watching this can relate to that, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, so what's with that picture? What is that picture, David?
Oh, sorry. Say what you guys are talking. I actually went on your LinkedIn because you mentioned, hey, go my LinkedIn, the $1 billion company, they harass people. So I went there and actually saw this on your LinkedIn. So I went ahead and copied it, put it on Canva, created a new background because you're looking pretty good there. Got the little sneer, like you're kind of like a little bit of a badass. You got the goat, hanging.
A little bit of a badass. I thought you were gonna get a fat picture of me. Like I have a
no, sir. I wouldn't fat shame you. I never in a million years I would ever.
Not reality. Right, so Amy was about to get into her segue into her what became the money.
No. It's all good. So it was January. I had just I had the best retail, Christmas season, the holiday season is retail world. I had a $10,000 month. I felt like I had gotten the boutique to where I wanted it to be, but I was exhausted and I didn't see my boys much. And I was like, I can't go through another retail.
$10,000 in the boutique?
Huh?
You made $10,000 on the boutique?
I did. I'm very proud. My whole goal was to get it to 6 figures. And my last 2 months, in November, I had like an 8,000 month, and December I had a 10,000 month. But do you know how much work that is for one lady? It's a ton. I was at events. I was shipping things. I still have PTSD from the post office. Like I don't want to ship another thing. I just knew and my goal was at that point was to start growing the boutique and have other people running it. But I just wasn't there yet I felt like I was stuck. And all I knew was I had to.
I'll tell you this. So Lisa Tanner, my fiance, she and also baby mama, she runs Barbells and Ponytails, which is an apparel brand for CrossFitters, Olympic lifters.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You've heard of it, yeah? So Barbells and Ponytails, everybody go there. So she really, and so she has a lot. She has a lot of the shipping, and she actually prints a lot of her own shirts. And it's a really big brand. She ships worldwide. She did. She has a special deal. Well, she had a deal worked out with this like fit box thing, whatever, where they were put it in her shirt. But she had
awesome.
1,400 shirts. I was doing them too. She brought that thing home. We had to do screen print 1,400 shirts.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that sucks.
It sucks.
Blows. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So I feel your pain.
But that's not what you're doing now at all.
No. So insert January 2 years ago, January 2019. I was doing a boutique event, and a friend of mine had already told me about some CBD oil that she thought. I'd been very vocal. Our oldest son, who's 11 now, he just turned 11 last week. He has ADHD off the charts, and diagnosed when he was 4 years old, which they don't even do. So that tells you how like intense it was. So we did the med route for a little bit, was not for us. It took him off of it. But there were challenges with emotional regulation, with focus. And she knew from following me that I had, I was a natural, trying all the natural things, taking away food groups and dyes, and just trying to figure out how to make his beautiful brain work as well as it could, as optimally as it could. And my friend was like, listen, I started taking this CBD oil, and she had been on anxiety meds since she was 14 years old. And she was like, Amy, I have been taking this since November. It was January. She was like, and I'm on no medication now. And I was like, what? And her sister was dying of cancer during this time, actually.
Did I say the same thing? My daughter, but she used the marijuana element of it, but then eventually the CBD. She was in a horrible way.
Okay.
Really sad. And she medicined everything. She was just despondent. Nothing worked. With a friend's advice, she got off it, went to CBD and to the drugs and THC and everything related to it, which has a CBD in it, and changed her life off every medication.
I love it. I love it. So when I heard that story, she piqued my interest. I was like, okay, well then I have to try it. Like, why wouldn't I try this? And then the next week, her friend Christine came to one of my boutique events, and she told me again about the product. Christine is a midwife. Funny enough, it turns out I actually interviewed her to birth our second child. So I was like, oh my God, I know you. And when she was a nurse and I heard this again, I was like, okay, I have to try it. So we tried the product. We ordered the product. My husband and I tried it first before we wanted to give it to Lincoln. And within 2 weeks, my husband was a different man mentally, like 180 degrees. The anxiety and depression he had been dealing with because of his career thing, like we just didn't, you don't know what you don't know. You're just going through life. You're trying to make it happen. You're positive. But I didn't realize how bad he was, really. And so to just start seeing those positive changes, we started giving it to Lincoln. The whole family has started taking it now. I mean, has not stopped not taking it a day.
So it doesn't get you stoned. You don't get a negative effect or a high effect. You get the benefit of it, right?
Right. Yes, exactly.
You get wisdom from it.
Yeah. You're not.
Now, I will say, though, I was on a bachelor party years back in Key West, and my friend Prasad. I love Prasad. He's a little kind of social awkward, but I love Prasad. And he had found this little shop that was selling these CBD lollipops in Key West. And so he's asking the guy, he's like, hey, are these active? Are these good? Like, and the guy in the shop was like, oh yeah, they're super active. Really great. And so he started taking it. He was selling his lollipop, and he kept saying like, oh man, I'm feeling it. Oh, I think I'm feeling it. And we didn't tell him. We thought it was funny. We just kept it going. Oh man, I'm really feeling it. We had a great time. But that was our bachelor party in Key West. That was the good time.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, CBD is not going to get you high. What I tell people is you're really not going to feel anything. It's the lack of feelings. The lack of sleep. People sleep. I have people every day like, oh my gosh, I'm actually sleeping because of this stuff now. The lack of anxious feelings. For me, it was like, I didn't realize that feeling of this inside was not normal. I thought because 3 boys and a busy lady, like I was just supposed to feel that way all the time. And when I started feeling more calm and like for me, it keeps me from going into that like rage. It's like, it's just a calming effect to where I feel like I can get my thoughts together and be like a normal human being. I don't know. But
so fast forward to Empire, what made you move over to selling this and then becoming an online guru on it?
Yeah. So literally within
we have a question from one of our listeners as well. I want to make sure you cover this. It's very important. You see it on the screen.
I don't even know what a jazz cigarette is.
And it's as as fudge. Is that what that? What's AF?
I know that's what AF means. Yeah, as fudge. Yep. But I don't know about the jazz cigarettes. So maybe try it and see. I don't know. Quality matters.
AF, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if jazz
cigarettes
was CBD, then that's what it does. Like it's meant to have all the beneficial. It's the extract of all the great things that you get from smoking, all those great things without having, having this anyway. So keep going. So talk about.
So because of the benefits. Yeah. So because of the benefits, I knew there was a business opportunity attached to it. And I was like, okay, I have a big mouth. I share everything already in life. I'm going to share if I love these glasses, like why I'm going to tell everyone about this product that our family's using. So why not make an income from it? But really at the time, it was just thinking it would cover the cost of our products. Like there wasn't really a business goal vision in mind. I was really thinking Brian could kind of take this and run with it too. But then I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with the community there. I was as a solopreneur for years now, like it was so nice to be with another group, to have collaboration with a group of people, which is what this brought on. And the commission that I was making was equal to what I was trying to make in the retail arena. I didn't have to carry inventory. I didn't have to leave my home. I could literally, work from my computer. I had been going live with the boutique because I had to get the stuff out of my house. So I was already in that comfort zone of creating a brand. Because of things that happened backwards, I don't know that I ever would have dove into it, but I was forced into Facebook Lives and figuring out how to create that brand because I had a basement full of boutique inventory that I had to freaking get out of my house, right?
So how did you get people to even listen to you? And what, like, that's the challenge. Like you had nothing and you only had your own friends. How did you get people started?
I will say that for everybody who's thinking about doing that or who's nervous about going, okay, so, and I will say this real quick, and this is some advice for some of the folks that they're not sure if they want to go live or do videos or just put themselves out there. So some of the best advice I ever got was start doing it when no one's listening, because the problem is if you get a kind of following or you start being out there, the more people that follow you and it puts more pressure on you when you do go live because you're not very good at it. You have to do it like the best time to do it is when you have 0 people following you, because you just get that way you can make mistakes. You can kind of find your voice. Now as you start getting followers and getting people to listen to you, then you're practiced, you're good, and you're comfortable. So that's the way I look at it. Do when no one's listening, and then get good, and then you'll get listeners. Don't do the other way.
No, absolutely. Everyone is a baby, a newborn with everything they do in life. And for me, the way I jumped into live was, like I said, I had a boutique full of clothes that people weren't just finding my website, right? Like, and it's hard SEO, it's hard to be the person out there when you're small. And on Facebook, there was this lady I started following. She's the Lady Tribe, and she had a 10-day video challenge where and this was 3 years ago, where the challenge was to go live every single day for 10 days. And didn't matter about what, but was just to get you out of your comfort zone. And that's where I started. And some days I would just do something silly with some days I would just be like, look at the beach, the ocean, and not even have it on me, but you just have to get used to pushing that button. And here's the trick. You're always going to get in your head. Like I still have days where I look like, poo or something. My hair's not washed, but I had said I was going to go live. And I'm like, who cares? Just push the button. Like you're human.
I see you're on vacation, and I know, and I've even told you this. I said, I know there's days where you do not want to bother with this. Yet there you go. You take a walk with your headphones to the beach, and and something you don't peddle your stuff all the time at all, which is interesting. It's implied, but you'll just talk about with your followers interesting stuff or what mind or motivational things because you're in such a good mood because of your CBD or whatever it is, and you're just so you got to push yourself to do it, you don't want to do it.
And I will say this for a lot of recruiters, and I know that recruiters typically don't see the value in this, right? They don't see the value in things like, and let's put going live aside, right? Just putting yourself out there, say like video, for example, some value, or even if it's not like explicit value. But even entertainment and being funny is still value, but just put anything out there. And one thing that I know that I talk a lot about in sales, this actually applies to recruiting specifically. Your sales and your marketing are kind of intertwined, right? So the more people have consumed your stuff, your content, or it includes the email you send out, the time you talk on the phone, a video they've seen, an article they've read, they've been on your site, every little interaction,
it's all connected.
Clocking time. And there's an old rule in sales: 7 hour, you got a 7 hour clock, and obviously it's not hard and fast. I mean, it's, but just if you use as a rule of thumb, clock 7 hours. If talking about your dog and Facebook Live, but if they get value out of it, there's a trust that's built, and they're more likely to do things like take your call, answer your email, give you an engagement fee. So that's value. And I think for recruiters is, the more you put yourself out there, think about just getting your audience their clock in time. So when you are trying to sell them, they're much more likely to open their wallet and or pay an engagement fee, give you a job order, talk to you like as a candidate or whatever, but ultimately to give you their trust. And that's where I think a lot of recruiters can take a lesson out of this.
I want to speak on that for a minute, because that is a very valuable point and something that I think that I want to communicate that I'm getting better at, that has slowed myself down. I had the legal recruiting world on LinkedIn, but I kept the two completely separate. It's like my Facebook land was either the boutique, which then turned into the CBD oil branding, and I kept them separate. Well, around COVID, I guess in the springtime, almost a year ago, I started thinking differently. And I was like, okay, why I need to start bringing these networks together. Like, why, at the end of the day, to your point of what you just said, people, they want to know what's behind the scenes of everything. Everyone is wanting to know the human side of you if they're doing business with you. The candidates do, the clients do, all the people that are going to share what you do. You want people to think of you and what you do, right? Period. And so you've got to get in their face. And the best way to do that is live. We have the opportunity to have, the viewers that I get, even if when I'm live, there's only 2 people watching, the views that gets versus a post, it's triple. And so this past spring,
views come later.
Yes, exactly.
We'll get like a dozen people, which is ridiculous, on each of the channels that we have. So when we go live, there's probably like 40 or 50 people combined with other things. We'll end up having 500-600 people. And again, when I would do webinars, and I still am adding them, but if on a good webinar, you might get 100 people to watch it, right? So to your point, you get so many more people going live.
Yes. And so here's what the beautiful thing is that I've just, realized in this past year. So I started taking some of my Facebook content, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start. I've got way more connections on LinkedIn than I have in Facebook, because I've been building that since it started with the legal recruiting business. So I just started taking out some of my emoji stuff, all the Facebook frills, making it more LinkedIn appropriate and posting it on there. Even my personal stuff, which until 2020, I had never done. And I know for a fact, we have received at least 3 job orders from attorneys that said, oh my gosh, my weight loss, the weight loss post that I posted on LinkedIn, I literally got 3 job orders from that, because they couldn't believe that I put myself out there. They thought it was so admirable. Then they saw that I'd been legal recruiting forever. They didn't know me before that picture. And so I just challenge you all to step outside your comfort zone, show more of your personal self, even if it's not a live, but if it's a post about, everyone has value to add to, even if you don't think so. So whatever it is that you're trying to improve about yourself, improve about your business, a great book that you've read that inspired you, whatever, just start sharing with people is the biggest tip I can give.
And you're
people
really
like
fun
to do
follow.
Real human beings. You know what I mean? Well, I'm saying that people like to do business with real human beings. I started doing things like, showing my sleeve, right? In the professional world, not caring about this anymore.
Yep.
And then I realized, it doesn't matter, right? Nobody cares. The only person who cared was the person in my head.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, saying naughty words. You know, and I've had a few people say you should say the F word, and you know, on your lives, because what if a client might see it and they say, well, all right, if they don't like them, fuck them. Because I don't like. At the end of the day, I'm old enough to the point where I just don't care, because I know that the people who don't like it, I'll get a lot of people who like
they're not your people.
They're not my people, and that's cool. I only need to have small sliver of the audience that like me, whether it be on my coaching programs or be in the recruiting world. You know, I don't need to have a huge audience, right? I just need to have people that pay me. That's all I need, really.
Yep.
So, Amy, how do they follow you? And again, she's really interesting, even if you're not interested in CBD oil, though she tells good stories there. You're really interested. No, you're very real on it, and I enjoy watching them. I mean, I watch them; they pop up. They're not long. You'll give your good mood, bad mood, little stuff that just everyone thinks. So I think it's really good. How do they follow you? I mean, just right now, I follow you on Amy Culver as a friend. But where do they get you?
How do I stalk you?
Yeah. What?
How do I stalk you?
How do I stalk
What's
you?
your
Yes.
address?
So on Facebook, I'm on my regular page, which I also implore people to do. Just getting started, go live. No one's seeing it in your group. No one's seeing it on your page. Put a sticky note over the comments so you don't freak yourself out. That's a big tip I have, so you can't even see who's on there. And just pretend like you're talking to yourself. That's exactly what I do. But you can follow me on Facebook at Amy Culver Mom Boss. I'm also at All Things Lovely Life on Facebook and on Instagram and TikTok. And LinkedIn, I'm Amy Culver, and I guess those are all the things. Maybe I do have a podcast now. I've only got 2 episodes, but that's becoming All Things Lovely. So yeah,
nice. And I will say,
for you going live, right? Don't you have recruiters that could sell for you or join your world, right? So that's if you're interested in doing the CBD thing, Amy does have it, and I'd love that you're not plugging it even. Like it didn't even dawn on you to sell it, but you do. I remember you said you've moved into like you have a bunch of recruiters that are interested in making money on the side.
I have a lot of recruiters, and I have paralegals. You know, people. Here's the deal: if you're a W-2 employee, if you start a home business and you're spending 10% of your week on that, you get a lot of write-offs and you immediately get a raise. So it's a no-brainer to join a business, which for us, there's no cost outside of your product. Like there's no reason to. And for a recruiter, again, I talked about like you're either placing people or you're not making money. Building leveraged income that will continue to make money, whether you're making a placement or not. My kids, I already said, are under 11. In 5 years, I want to be like even more so soaking up all that time with them that I can. I don't want to be tied to, you know, what I am putting forth in my work. And by building a leverage income, you can do that. And now as a recruiter, if I don't have a legal position for them, I'm like, listen, I don't have this at the time, but I do help people make money online from their phone. Are you open to checking out a video?
Would be cooler though, as a recruiter, if you really not did the CBD, but the other one, if you're like, oh, I don't have a job for you, but do you want to get high? Are you down?
There's that option too. There's that.
You know what I mean? Are you cool?
No, but I'd love the idea of taking advantage of your audience.
Now. Sorry. Well, sorry. Go ahead, Neil. Sorry. I had a little.
It's great that you can talk to someone about a job and without sounding like I'm selling snake oil, a used car salesperson, say, but listen, I do this also as an aside. I make good money on it. You could too. Check this out. If you get a chance, you can be very passive about it, and people are interested.
The code is to ask them if they're holding. That's you got to talk in code, brother. That's what we do back in the day. So hey, by the way, if you want to go live,
what you need?
If you want to go live, so we used to call it so the actual real code back in the day when I was younger and we were doing all that kind of crazy stuff. I'd text and I'd be like, hey man, you got the other? And the other, at least in my circle, was the other. If you know, like we called it the other. That was our code. But anyway, one thing I will
because the FBI would never be on to you.
Late on news, but one thing about Facebook, more of a tactical tip, and this is something that a lot of people that when they do live that they don't know. And if you want, do you want to get more viewers? Something we don't do very well here on the show, but when you do go live, one thing that'll help you get a little more views and get more traction if you're not getting enough traction is right when you go live. As soon as you go on there, introduce yourself very quickly. But the very first thing to get out is tell them what you're talking about. Hey guys, today I'm gonna be talking about blank. Because what happened is after the show is on and Facebook is sending notifications to people, hey, so and so went live, they'll listen for like 5-10 seconds and then like, something else. So don't meander, drop what are you talking about, how be of value. And then secondly, if you can get people to comment, hey guys, comment hashtag replay, comment live, you're live. Hey, comment your best question. Comment, get people to comment, because more people comment, what will happen is, or like and love, whatever, then it'll drive the algorithm and then Facebook will get more people to watch it. So if you just meander, you don't get to the point in 5 minutes like we do sometimes, and if we don't like drive comments like we don't do, then you won't get the views. And so if you're not getting views, make sure you're following those 2 really basic rules every single live.
I have one more rule. Rule to go with that. 3 rules. The 2 that he said: before you go live, set your timer. If you have set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to get in the scroll, and engage on Facebook. The more you engage on Facebook, the more reward you by pushing it out. So before you go live, take 10 or 15 minutes, comment on things. And then when you're done with your live, do it again for about 10 minutes. I promise that works also. Yeah.
All right.
100%. And 4th rule, show the booty. That also gets more views. I've found that works for me anyway. That's like most of my
doesn't seem to help my business at all. I can't connect the dots, but somehow me being sexy is not adding on business. I don't know why.
Oh, here we go. Better late than never.
Hey, February 12th, 2021, and the news today as you've seen it. I see. Each time I love that. But so we don't have a lot of time today, so I'm going to cut through the news chatter. I don't know why I still do a George Bush.
Right to it, Neil. Do this. Let's cut to the chase. Come on.
Let's cut to the chase on the news. Most of the news stories, and this is always self-serving because of my back office staffing solutions. We place temps for you. Use me for your back office, please. So many people on the show, David, still don't know that I place temps on back office. And they say, I see your show. I didn't know you did this. I don't plug it enough. And I know you think I do, but I don't. But 3 of the 4 news stories I was going to cover today are all about the temp. Temp is leading the way across the board. Temp is strong here, but there's still concern over what's going on with perm. Temp indices for these companies in December for the quarter were down a couple percent, only a couple percent. And first quarter, they're all ahead of where they were last year. And that was also pre-COVID. So temp is a story, but I thought this one would be interesting, which is not temp. And I think it's something we've heard a lot of, and I found it interesting. And it was a poll that our good friends at Robert Half did, but they found a third of companies, and they call it breadcrumbing. It's interesting, stringing along job applicants by taking significantly more time to hire them in this environment, right? And this was the case in most markets. And then the larger markets had 50% of the people saying, yes, they are in their company. The hiring process has dragged on significantly. Like San Diego, Boston, Sacramento, each close to 50%. What do you guys think of that?
I agree with that. I agree with that a little bit. We have a couple that are like the offer is coming, like but it just is not. I think that some, I don't know, legal can be different. We have some that move really fast, but we definitely have had some that I feel like because of this, there's just that uncertainty in the air still, and it just makes people pause, in my opinion.
Let me add this. David, you're going to have a comment on this too.
I was going to say, because budget get in the way, because budgets for a lot of companies are cut depending on the industry. And so if they're working with less resources, every hire kind of counts more, or they may not be able to pay much in fees. And so I think that also adds to it, and there's significant tightness on budget. That can be a big fact. At least that's what I've seen.
So here's what also they did. They did a separate poll as to work hand in hand with this, which I thought was really cool. And this is now to the workers who also agree that they're seeing a significant slowdown. And here's what they do. So one, a vast majority, so 2/3 of the people lose interest in the job if they don't hear back from them in 2 weeks, right? And so this is a poll now. And we tell this to clients, and you guys tell this to clients, look, they're going to lose interest. They're going to lose interest. 3 weeks, it goes up to 3/4, over 75%. Here's what they do. Listen to this. So these are, I think, great talking points for your clients, right? So if they feel they're being quote unquote breadcrumbed, as Robert Half calls it, here's what they're going to do. Half the people, 49%, will ghost. They ghost the recruiter, they ghost the employer, and they're gone. And we definitely know that happens from our group. So you let them know that's going to happen. 41%, so almost half, they blacklist the company and they will never want to deal with them ever again. They feel like they were mistreated. They're done, right? 27% will go on social media. That's 1/4 of these people, and they will vent about it, right? And then another 1/4 will leave negative comments on review sites about the company. 1 out of 4. That's scary. Tell your clients that. What do you think of that?
I've got a client in mind that I'm going to share that with right now, because yes, I think that's great info. And I agree. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, people are quick to write and bad, if they feel like they have been wronged in any way. We are in a time where people are vocal about that, and definitely vocal about it on social media for sure.
Yeah, Google it. Robert Half, actually, people, and send it to them.
Now, what's called a breadcrumb?
Yeah.
What was that again?
That's what they call it, breadcrumbing. I mean, I don't know that I like the term, but I'm saying if you want to find the article, if you Google Robert Half breadcrumbing poll,
I'm going to. All right.
Ghosting, it'll show up, right? And use it. I think it's great.
I'm going to. Yeah, I really am. I'm glad you told me that.
Well, now I will say this: when it comes down to your reputation, people are more likely to write bad reviews than good reviews, because unless you actually ask your clients for good reviews, and most people don't. And then, but I will say this: there's some tools out there that can help with that. For those of you who are concerned about that, brand mentions is one you can use that actually will continually search your name, your company name, and it'll give you notifications. Hey, you're mentioned here. You can go and check and see if it's a bad mention, a good mention. So brand mentions, I believe .com, you can use them. It's a good one. I've got it, and although I never use it, you know why? Because I don't get bad reviews.
No, you get great stuff. If you search brand reputation software, you'll find a list of the top 20. Right, there's great ones. Awesome. So anyway, I think that's our show, David.
That is it. Oh my goodness. Well, that said, I need to you got to plug your thing. I want to plug my thing. If anybody needs to build their seamless sales and marketing machine, I've got a free training right down there, the digitalheadhunter.com/training. And if you've already seen that, and you want to get a price, you can go to digitalheadhunter.com/assessment. You can book a call with myself or one of our growth advisors. And at the end of the day, if you don't even want any of that, you can at the very least sign up for the most badass email list in recruitment today. Yes, it is the most badass. Go to my site /sign-up and get on that list.
And if you want any of the meal stuff, there'll be no fancy graphics, no URLs, no banners at the bottom. Just you're on your own when you partner with David. It's because it's all about David.
I ran this for like a good 5 minutes, man. You didn't see this?
I didn't see that. Did you?
He did.
Oh, I apologize. Wow, dude.
Sir, I did you first.
I feel like crap. I feel horrible.
Okay.
And Amy, I think you plugged it, but anything else? Any closing comments from you?
The only closing comment I have, because we did not talk about it, if CBD oil is not your thing and it still freaks you out, I'm actually an affiliate. We have a house of brands. So we have, outside of the CBD oil, we have actually, Forex, Bitcoin, all of those big things that people are doing right now. We have an educational platform where people can learn and literally copy trades that are doing well. So you can be in that part of the business. We have a travel part. We have nutritional sprays. So essential oils. There's literally a choice of things that you can build a business around. So that was the only thing I did not mention.
Show those little spam containers.
CBD. I love it.
Amy Culver, mom boss. All right.
Yes.
So get your CBD on, yo. There you go.
Follow me and get your CBD. Yeah.
Get you CBD. All right, folks. Well, that said, Amy, thank you so much for appearing here. I'm actually surprised that Neil actually had a real friend, especially female friends. I was he always brags about his girlfriend from Canada, and I didn't think she was real, but maybe she actually might be. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was fun.
Oh, it was a great time. You're a great guest, and it was good to talk about something interesting and sometimes illicit, depending upon who you talk to. Neil, thank you very much. As always, it's a pleasure. I'm signing off, everybody. Thank you for watching. We will be here.
Valentine's Day to all you lovers out there.
See you, Bo. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.